Hey guys, what is up? I am back with my homie Pete from Overheat Games. And this is an exciting episode to film. I know Pete's excited. I'm over the moon ecstatic this week on this one.
Yeah,
So,
hey Danielle, good to see you again. This is a very special time, I think, for us and for the gaming community. It's a little different perspective as we have talked in our last few videos on the collectability of games, and I think we're gonna tap in a little more on the investment side of the collectible market, and in particular, a game that we were able to partner, and very excited to let everyone know that I was part of it and that you kind of led the way, and appreciate the opportunity to be included in it. So, why don't you tell everyone what it is?
yeah. So we talked about this game a lot in our last episode we did. And this is kind of one of those moments where we don't just talk about it, we live that life. And we said all along that Legend of Zelda first print should be $1 million+ game. The last
Very
one that
good.
sold was a lower grade copy. It sold for over 700. So we said like all along, this 9.2 should hit over a million. And I was
There it
popping
is.
bottles, popping bottles. Okay. When we scooped the 9.2 first print Zelda, one of only 3 copies on the WATA Pop report for $600,000. Like, I've never been so excited to put in a bid for that dollar amount.
Yeah, it's funny because we did the video probably a week or a few days prior, and we discussed this game, and I remember clearly discussing that when we give valuations, that we also support the market, and we don't just throw out numbers; we actually support it with
Yeah.
dollars. So I won't lie, I was certain that this game was going to bring in the very high six figures. You know, everyone was expecting to cross seven figures. I know before the auction you said, "Hey, would you like to be a part of this and partner?" It's something I would struggle to be buy outright, and that was a great opportunity. And again, thank you. And we
Yeah,
came up with
I'm
a
happy
number.
we
And
get to do this together.
yeah, and our number was, in my mind, considerably higher when you're talking about cars. Our
Yep.
bid, and to acquire that at that level, I think you know, I think it's for me, it was for us, I think it was an investment play. And I think it was a
Huge
sound
investment.
investment play. And as much as I would love to have that in my collection, sometimes you just can't do that, right? It
Yeah.
depends on the comfortability. So personally, I think, I'm a firm believer when something sells for something, that's the current state of the market, but you have to have so many things go right. It doesn't mean it's not worth more. It just means at that given time, that's all it was worth at that given moment. And second time when the hammer closed, it's not uncommon when things sell and then later on someone's like, "Hey, I didn't have the opportunity to buy it at the time. I was too busy. I was
FOMO
doing
is a
things."
real thing.
Right. And for whatever reason, it went for a relatively low amount.
Some
And when you have auction records of a later print selling for $270,000 more, uh,
more.
still no
And we'll
brainer.
share those. Don't worry. I'm queued up today, guys. I am prepared because this is a special occasion. I've got other copies to share the differences with you guys because I think that's important to really
100%.
understand that this is the first print. It's second highest graded. I know who owns the highest graded copy. He is not a seller. He will not sell. He's been approached numerous times. He is a hard no. That is in his PC. So
Yeah.
this is
And
go ahead.
yeah, no. And I mean, I was told he was offered a significant amount of money long time ago, well
Yeah,
before the big
before any
run
copies
out.
hit the
Yeah.
market.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure exactly what the amount was, but I heard it was beyond substantial. Um, but this is the game that started the franchise, and we're 30 plus, basically 30 plus years going on, and Zelda's, strong, and I believe
Almost 40 years, like 35 years
40.
ago.
Yeah, we're getting older.
And
Yeah, we're
old
getting
guys, us
older.
80s babies.
But if you've met, and I've met a lot of collectors over the years, and all the Zelda collectors are special breeds. And they're when they're die hard, they're die hard, and I'm sure that's every collectible market has the top echelon of items, and this is right up there with arguably the Mario sticker. It's just as important in a sense because it's the very
I
first
agree.
print. There are a few more known than the Mario sticker, so we don't expect it to bring millions
Yeah.
and millions of dollars, but this will always go down in history as
Well,
one of
and
the
when
most.
you think of like top franchises that are still going today, you think Mario, Zelda on the Nintendo side, you think Sonic on, I mean, they're making Sonic movies. So you think
Sure.
Sonic on the Genesis, but on the Nintendo side, when you think of top franchises, it's Mario and it's Zelda, and they're releasing a new Zelda this year with Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild too.
yeah. It's
So
forever. Zelda is forever. So again, this is a little different than a collectability piece. Obviously, you can collect it, but we bought this as an investment play,
yeah,
and I think it's justified.
this will be over $1 million someday.
I,
You heard me say it. I'll say it 100 times over. This should have gone.
it
Like,
should have,
I'm ecstatic.
and the beautiful thing is the owners have the control of what they sell it for. And I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but I wouldn't be comfortable selling it less than $1 million.
no,
But I think when you compare it to other sound collectibles that have been around for a bit longer, whether it's coins, currency, comics,
yeah,
let's stick with pop culture, but as an asset
yeah,
class. If we're talking about video games as an asset class, everyone's going to want to know what's the top 5 games, and this will be number two. You
I
know,
agree.
I mean, arguably number one in a sense because there's 3 copies. When you start getting into the Mario's, there's only one known sticker seal
Yeah,
that's been on the market for a very high amount of money. So that kind of elevates the top tier material. So yeah, it's a very exciting time. I might not show my emotions, but after that sale, I
okay.
would
I sure enough.
say again.
It's okay. I got that covered.
Yeah, you got that covered. Yeah. So yeah, it's very exciting time. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to see how it plays out. I can't wait to see how when we do an update on it in the future.
Yeah. So I want to share with you guys and kind of show the differences in prints. I don't have a no rev A copy in my hands. But I have a rev A and I have an oval, and then we're also going to pull up and share the pop reports and the 2 sales that happened over on Heritage. We won this game from Goldin, who's kind of still newer in the video game market, and I do think that maybe that had some play in it because Heritage has been like the OG and kind of led the way in video games and auction houses. And Goldin is really only in their 4th auction cycle now going into, right? I think they've had 3 video
Mhm.
game auctions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think that maybe that's part of it because we don't have the card guys in yet.
yeah. And remember, you have 3 known. We know where one is, it's almost in a vault, and then you have the other 2 selling within what 8 months of each other.
Yeah,
So
and it was a big auction. And sometimes when you go so top heavy, it kind of gets thin up there because as much as these video games are worth substantially more sometimes, there's only so much people can spend on
mhm,
collectibles because everyone still has limits. So let's talk about prints first. Please hold.
let's do it.
Okay. So on the TM, I hope you guys can see it. Okay. With my light, I got a new camera. Okay. So if you look, there it is. Do you see next to the Zelda where it has that TM? So a first print has 2 TMs on it. It has it next to the entertainment system in gray. And then we also get that red TM next to the Zelda. So that signifies a first print.
Just point to the TM
Oh,
right on the other side, right?
oh. So
Little
there's
light,
one right there. Do you
right
see
where,
it right
yeah,
here, guys?
right in the
Right
bottom.
there.
There,
Right
yep. Small little TM.
there we go.
There we
It's
go.
super tiny. It's such fine print, but that signifies a first print. I'll go over to Heritage and I will show you guys the Rev
And
A.
we also should say that the print runs were very short between the TM and then the R, which
Yeah,
is registered.
good
It's when
point.
when they changed over. So again, don't have that data in hand, but my gut says it was a matter of months. And again, Zelda was highly anticipated. So when that game comes out, people are running to the store. They're paying, at the time, this
Yep.
is in 87, I believe, right?
Yeah,
1987,
1987.
right?
Yeah.
Late 87. So people were paying whatever it cost at the time, $30.
Yep.
And they're gonna open it and they're gonna play it, right? It's a gold card. Look at it. Look at the
Yeah,
box.
everyone's racing home to
Right?
play
So
that
they're
game.
so
It's
super excited. So
flashy.
the fact I heard through the grapevine this particular copy had a really good story.
This
About
one. Let me turn off the screen for a second.
Yeah, I heard it had a really cool story and how it was acquired by, I guess it was given as a gift, never opened for whatever reason. Again, but the reality is, there aren't case packs of these. We're not going to find many in the wild, and if
No.
you do, they're probably going to be pretty beat up.
Beat up.
The
Yeah.
box grade is a 9.2. I think I didn't have the opportunity to see the game in person yet. I've
Stunning.
been told by many people that the B plus seal is hard to understand through the
Harsh.
holder.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, but again, I think when things face up nicely, that's a huge part too.
Yeah.
Not all two grades are gonna or be identical
Yeah.
with all the other hobbies as well.
It's one of three on the pop reports. Seal kind of like goes out the window at that point. When we're talking 9.2, it's the fact that it's one of three copies on the report.
Mhm.
Okay. So that was the TM. So that's our first print. Let's go back to okay. Now, here's the difference. Down here, you still get the TM at the Zelda, but down next to system, you get that R. So that's the No Rev A. And this copy, No Rev A, sold at 870,000. So it was a 90A. Next, oh, sorry guys. There we go. Sold at 870. Here's the other first print that sold publicly, the 80A, and that sold at 705 in October. So it sold for 105,000 more, 3 grades lower, because you get 85, 90, 92.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people will argue that the seal grade will have some influence to it, and I don't disagree to a degree. But I actually believe all these TMs are seven-figure games. Just like I think decent higher grade Mario hang tabs will eventually be seven-figure games. It's just how it just takes time for the markets to evolve.
And I think the other thing we can't forget is comic books have been being collected for over 30 years. We've had comic book conventions, and they've been trading in graded condition in CGC for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Cards,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
same thing. Like these are very long established hobbies. They have websites you can go to pull data. They have pop reports for everything that they've graded. They have like this history of trends and so much data that you can grab from. I think one of the hardest entries for people that want to come into video games as a collector or an investor is a lack of data.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been probably what's stinting the growth of the market. With the
Come on,
stocks like,
Game Ladder.
yeah, Game Ladder. There you go. I hear that a lot of data will be coming out, hopefully sooner than later. I've been, because I've been a huge advocate of that. And
Yep, same. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Understanding different prints, what we're doing today, breaking down the differences in different prints, understanding why they're not the same.
And a lot of people can say that that's crazy, 600 grand for a video game. I get it. I totally get it. But if you're involved in collectibles, especially graded collectibles, it actually makes quite a bit of sense. And again, I'm a firm believer, and especially in 10, 20 years, when we catch up to the amount of time for the grading companies, and obviously we have CGC still to enter, they'll bring a lot on the table. We'll see the grails will be on par with other collectible markets like sports.
Well, it's like a Honus Wagner, right? Where there's only a handful of copies.
That card and while I'm not well versed into, sorry, my cat. While I'm not
Loves to
super
make
well,
appearances with
yeah,
us.
he's like, "Hi," at the door, and it's like meow, meow, meow. She'll be coming up on here in a second. Well, I'm not sports cards is actually I started in sports cards when I was like 10 years old. I would trade in middle school. We do trading. We go to school beforehand. That's what kind of got me involved in coins and currency. Um, but the Hornus Wagner is an interesting card because that card has been the holy grail forever. But you have to realize that card has spiked up in value
Yeah.
significantly in the last few years. So for something to be so well established and known as the card, just like the mantle, 52
Yep.
mantle, um, it just tells you how young this particular hobby
Yep.
really is. And it is truly young. And yes, it does have lots of room to grow, and it will. It just takes time. So I
Yeah.
think the patience and the persistence and in both aspects as a collectible and as an investment, because obviously with all these massive companies coming in, fractionalizations, they're trying to make collectibles asset classes and something to trade just like a commodity. So and there's no stopping these companies. There's billions and billions of dollars being pumped in by all of them, and it's going to happen. So the more I'm talking this, I'm not trying to talk up our play, but I'm more excited
Oh,
about
I'm
it.
a full believer in our play. I mean,
Yeah,
one
oh
of
yeah.
three. I'm going to share the other prints that I have here, and then I just want to quickly highlight the pops on these. And even in later prints, there are not that many when you think out other collectibles, especially. So we know I'm from comic books, 17 years in comic books. And for me, one of the easiest decisions was comparing how many fewer sealed copies there are of these iconic games that are so relevant to pop culture. Like why a lot of people came into comic books because of like movies and attachments to characters and the relevance to pop culture.
Mhm.
Movies are timeless the same way video games are timeless.
100%.
All right. So
100%.
grade is not that nice on this one, but it's a Rev A. So the difference here is you still get the TM over. I have to figure out left from right. Okay, so you still get that, but then at the bottom, you still get the circle seal over here. And then in the bottom corner, instead of a
There we go. There
TM
we go.
next to the system, you get the R, and then you get that Rev A in the bottom corner. So that signifies a third release, third revision, third print, whatever word you choose to use to describe it. This is the third version that they had. And then the final version that they had is, and there's like some little like, I know like Mario, there's this like TMR thing. It's weird. I don't think that over time it's going to matter because there's not going to be enough of any sealed copies, really.
Yeah, even ovals. I mean, if you look at the
Even
oval card,
ovals, right.
yeah.
So an oval is the most affordable. So the difference obviously on the oval is you still get the Zelda, you still get the R in the bottom over here, but then you get that white oval. And that's probably the easiest difference to spot on a later print when it comes to, and that applies to Mario's also and all the black
Mhm.
boxes, is once a print goes later, you get that white oval. And there are some exceptions where games only came out as ovals, but most of the time that if there's multiple versions, the oval is always the last release. All right. So
I was actually looking at the upcoming Heritage sale. Kind of, let me see here. I believe when I went through it, they only had one NES Zelda copy. It's a 92A. It's a Rev A, still a scarce game. 92A
yep.
plus. That could do very well. But Mario, they don't have a single Mario. So, and I think this is important because it's a pretty big sale. There's almost 400 games, and it's a legit. It's a legit. Yeah, they don't have a sealed Mario One in any grade. I apologize. I have a 94A oval, but for them not to have a higher
In this
grade,
auction coming?
yeah, they only have one oval,
Wow.
which
That is
for
monumental, guys. That
right,
is a big deal.
a lot of CIBs. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is a great sign
Wow.
because
That
game.
means that they're drying up. Yeah.
They are, and we said it would take some time, but it's just what happens when a new thriving market comes up. Everyone kind of jumps in, gets a little. The supply is obviously a little higher than the demand after all the a lot of the money runs out. Then it all goes away, and then it's like, where is all this stuff? It happens with every market, especially. I mean, it's happened with comic books. I mean, how
Yeah.
often could you find let's just say 15 years ago, an Action One or a Detective
Well,
27?
I compare it to like Action Ones or Tech 27s, where for a while you would see two, three, four a year. Superman one really, you would have auctions where almost every auction house had a Superman one, whether it was unrestored or restored. And now we're lucky to get these one or two times a year. Sometimes we'll go on like All American 16, which is first Golden Age Green Lantern. You can go like 2 or 3 years without seeing one at
And
auction.
when they come up, it's an exciting time.
Super
Exactly.
exciting.
When the
Yep.
first one came up, it was exciting. It was new. The second one, like, oh, another one. It's been six
Yep.
months, right? And people don't understand how rare they actually are. And
Yeah.
again, part of the data, and I get it. Like, who wants to invest in something when there's a lack of data? Because there's a lot of, I mean, let's face it, all these markets are supported by a lot of speculators and investors,
Yeah.
as well as collectors. But on the top end, it's usually a combination of both. The reason you and I were pretty well knowledgeable in this space, so we're comfortable. But I can understand why people wouldn't be as excited to jump in to spend this kind of money.
And
But
guys, if you have questions at all,
mhm,
please feel free to reach out to me. I'm Nerdy Girl Comics on all platforms. Pete is Overheat Games on Instagram. I know that he's just as happy to have a conversation as I am.
absolutely,
Because I am such a believer in knowledge is power. I
mhm.
think that there is no such thing as oversharing, really. Okay. I just want
Yeah,
to
I
really
agree.
quickly share the pops on the Zelda because all right, hang on, let me go to it. Okay. Share. Okay. So I already had it pulled up. So on here's the TM. So overall, there's 128 copies graded, but that also takes into account the classic series, which has
Yeah.
51 copies graded. If you take that out, there are only 77 sealed Zeldas.
And a
That's
classic
it.
series is basically a re-release.
It's a reprint. And it doesn't look the same either. It has like that red it's got like the red logo over it that says classic series. It's kind of like it's like the second print or third print of like Action One, where like
Got
people
it.
still want to play it, but it's not as expensive. They can mass produce it. It came out a few years later, or like however long later. I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. Do you know, Peter?
I don't.
Okay. So we only have three
My
TMs.
my guess is they released. I mean, they had to have released that in what, like 93, 94, right before
Yeah.
NES. NES stopped printing games in
2 years
94.
later.
I'm pretty sure it was in 93, 94. Yeah, 5 years later. Five
Yeah.
years, well after the.
They're like, okay, people really love this game. We'll do it again.
Yeah,
Um,
right, I get it. And there's a
so
lot of them around though, because
truth. This is what I was talking about, where I don't think that this is going to be a big difference on the oval. There's 44 ovals, but they break it down by that TMNR. It's on Mario also. I really, over time, some people think that it's going to matter because they say like one came before the other. My opinion is I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's going to be like off-white white versus off-white pages in
yeah,
comic books, where like neither are white pages and you're okay getting either.
yeah, yeah. The TM is the one to have. It's the Grail. It's going to be always
Yeah.
one of the Grails, and yeah, I
Oh,
mean
that's like top 2 video games of all time, like to own
Oh
in your
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had conversations with people, and I'm a firm believer Mario is the number one. I am, but there's some people that are like Zelda. Zelda is more important.
Yep.
I'm just like, all right, because Super Mario wasn't the new character. right?
Right.
Mario already existed, so I can kind of like, all right, you have a good point, and Zelda, very impactful. Again, I think it's two different groups of individuals. I think
I agree.
the Zelda people are super die hard. It's a whole different category of craziness and diehardness over Mario. You don't really see many people dressing up as Mario around these shows. You
Bro.
see everyone dressing up as Zelda, right? So,
We get Princess Peach, to be fair.
okay, Princess Peach. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. It's not even Mario One. Well, yeah, that's not entirely true. Um,
Okay, so yeah,
yeah,
guys.
where does it go from here? Now, I mean, the 600,000 is an impressive sale. I haven't heard any news. I think people have been kind of static about the state of the market, and I think if something brings less than it expects, people don't say much about it. And I get it.
Well,
If you're
I
expecting
call those
something,
buying opportunities. I
it's a great.
don't call that like a static market. I call those buying opportunities
Mhm.
because that's what you're doing. Video
Yeah,
games are here. They're not going anywhere. We have another grading company. We have CGC entering the market. They're not going to enter a market unless they see potential
mhm.
in the future of it. I mean, that speaks volumes. WATA, I know, is doing some things over there now that they're acquired by CU. So
Yep.
I think that we're going to have like video game version one market, and then we're going to have version two.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're just in the process of that, and we're
And we're in the
celebrating.
middle of that like ebb and flow where we're like a
Mhm.
little more ebb than flow, but I'm okay with it because there's
Yeah,
opportunities there,
there
like the
sure is.
Zelda.
There is, yeah, and obviously it's easier to do this video after we acquire it. Obviously, when there's opportunity, you don't want too much competition, but at the same time, we're looking to grow the market, and I'm excited to see other grails come out. And again,
Same.
Heritage has a pretty cool sale coming out. But if you look, there's nothing like earth shattering as far as rarity. There's some great rarities, but I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything they're selling that hasn't already sold. So I'm excited. If the nine, I'll be honest with you. The only way I see another TM selling, even I mean, I want to say 12 months, but let's just say this year, is it has to be discovered. And
Well, I
unless
don't see that happening
I
because,
don't either, but I mean,
you
anything can
know,
happen.
anything is possible. But normally, when these kinds of sales happen, we
Everyone
see
looks.
stuff come out of the woodwork.
Mhm.
And this is now the second high six-figure sale over 500,000 on a
Mhm.
Zelda. And we only saw one come out after the first sale.
And
So,
yeah, and I think this one came out for that reason. I think it was, wait a
right,
second. I think I
right,
saw one of these, when I was in
right.
the attic, last year. Let me go take a look.
Yeah,
And yeah, that was all over the news,
yeah.
and I think
So,
I agree with you.
normally we get these sales and we find these games after massive sales. Maybe a duck hunt because we just had a duck hunt sell for a lot of money. And
Well, yeah,
please bring out the duck hunts because I'd
sure,
love to scoop another one.
sure.
But I think that right now we're just going to see kind of some a little bit of just slowing. I think it's super fascinating. Heritage doesn't have a Mario, only one Mario,
Yeah, an oval.
an
And
oval at that. Like
yeah, they even
this
have an
is
oval on weekly.
that
So
needed
keep
to
that going.
happen so badly because we were getting hang tab after hang tab after hang tab in auctions. And the problem is, like, I get it. Auction houses are here to break records and make money,
They just
but
sell. They don't control. They don't.
sometimes it makes games that are not common look common.
Yeah, Heritage, their goal is just to sell and allow the market to make itself. They're not trying to control the market. So if they have three of a game and all
Yep.
the consensus, they'll try to a degree, but if they say it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
if we put all three or not in there, they'll do it to a degree. I don't want
Yeah.
to say they're fearless because they're not. Um, but that's when, if you know enough, that's when the buying opportunities come up.
Yep.
Again, I'll be stunned if we see a TM this calendar year, and it's very possible. And I know who won the 808. No rush. I think
Yeah.
that was part collector slash investment play. There's no rush there.
Yep.
So it could be years until we see another one, unless ours comes to the market or whatnot. So or a 94A plus, which I don't see it happening anytime
I don't
soon.
see that happening. I
So
guess we'll have to wait and see what comes next.
yeah.
All right, guys. So
So
600K for Zelda.
okay for
Super
first
exciting.
Holy Grail. You guys
Sound
know who are part owners. So this is a real sale.
Yeah, it's a real sale.
It's
It's in
been
my
paid for.
possession.
It's in her
Sound off.
possession. So if anyone wants to run a video saying, the market's still real and there's people spending money, and if people want to offer more stuff, we're buyers.
Yeah,
I
we
know
are buyers. If
you
you have
are.
games,
So
sealed games you want to sell, we're buyers here and here.
absolutely,
All right.
we're
Make sure
very
you're following Overheat over on Instagram. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe this video. Sound off. What do you think? Did we lose our minds? Are we brilliant? I think we're brilliant. We'll see in the
Yeah,
future
let's see some
what happens.
comments. I want to see it, and you can't hurt our feelings.
Yeah.
So you can say all the shit you want, but let's
Yeah.
see it.
We're here for it. All right,
Yeah.
guys. This has
All
been
right.
another episode with Video Games. Bye.
Take care.